Today's live stream, we are going to get into a session today. We're going to talk about why FOMOing into the market was one of the worst things that I have done over my time, and why it was one of the most devastating things to actually stopping me from moving forward in the market. So we're going to talk about stop FOMOing into the markets. And one thing that absolutely just killed me, and as I try to trade these markets, I was always FOMOing into the markets, right? It's always FOMOing. And you guys probably know what I'm talking about, right? When it comes to FOMOing into the markets, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things that just, it's just like, and yeah, I'm going to talk more about that, but how to really stop FOMOing into the market, and so many people, especially the cryptos right now, and a lot of other people, right? They're just FOMOing into the market. Now, let me just see if I can just get this up through here. And we're going to get started. Let me, again, stop FOMOing into the market. You're killing yourself. Oh, man, I wish I could turn back time. I would be here. You know what I mean? That's what we say, don't we? I wish I was here, and so on and so forth. Let me do this here. All right, fantastic. All right, we are good to go. All right, so I'm going to talk about, guys. I'm going to talk about my story about FOMOing into the market, and many times how I've done FOMO into the market. And I really want to demonstrate the power of what you need to do to focus on, and what you need to focus on when trading the markets, and how FOMOing can actually be one of the worst things that you can do as a trader to trade the markets. So let me just shut everything down that I don't need right now, that can actually cause my computer to go bung. I need to get a new computer. If you guys have any resources, or you guys recommend any computers when it comes to, good trading computers, please let me know, because my computer is very, very slow and I need to really upgrade it. So I'm not sure what to. I'm thinking about using a gaming computer with a wide screen, with a few wide screens, and then using that. So I like the widescreen idea. I think by using widescreens, you can get a lot there and there, but let me know what you think about that as we continue on. So guys, give me a yes in the chat box if you can see me, if you can hear me, all that sort of stuff, or thumbs up, or whatever, whatever that happens there. Let me just see if I can delete a few things off here. All right, so we are good to go. All right, fantastic. Thanks, Russ. Appreciate that, my man. All right, I just want to make sure that, yep, okay, cool. All right, so let's actually get straight into it. Right now, what I want to talk about, guys, is I want to talk about FOMOing into the markets, and why FOMOing into the markets is one of the worst things that you can do. And I'm going to talk to you about many times how I FOMOed into the markets, and how it was the worst thing to do, and how most traders, when they approach the markets, this is one thing that generally happens to most traders in the markets, right? So here's what generally happens, and here's what's happened to me a lot of the times. And it's actually by losing a lot of money in the past, this is what I've done to actually stop myself from FOMOing into the markets, and stop myself from just basically doing that in the market. Now, what I'm talking about is that what do we do, right? We go to work, we go to our job, and we earn an income, don't we? And we save a little bit of money, and then we go put it in the markets. Then what do? We go read resources, we go read we'll watch a YouTube video, we go read an article, we go watch something in the markets, right? And we go study something in the markets. And then guess what happens? We find something that we go, oh my goodness. And think about the mind frame here, right? What is generally what are people mostly thinking about? How can I make the most money in the shortest period of time? What is that one trade that is guaranteed? What is that one trade that is guaranteed to make me a lot of money? And I'm going to research it, I'm going to research, right? I'm going to do all this research and basically find the one thing that's going to make me the most money. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to take all that hard-earned money that I earn, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to whack the majority of that, if not all of that, onto this one thing, because this YouTube video made so much sense by backing up so much fundamental evidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all this report or whatever that said this thing is going to absolutely explode, any day, and so on and so forth. So what do? We end up going buying that report. We buy that subscription, we buy the newsletter, we get part of that program and so on and so forth, right? Because we're going to do this. It's like, oh my goodness, I better get in now before it's too late because this thing is about to explode. And if it does explode, oh my goodness, if it just only gets to here, then, I'm going to make a lot of money, right? It's like, and so then we get into the market, right? We get into the market with no system, no plan of attack. We've only got in because of based on this video, and we literally go, this is the one. This is the thing that's going to just take us to the upside. This is the thing that's going to really, really launch us to the upside and make us a lot of money through here. It's going to make me so much money. Oh my goodness. You know what? In fact, I'm so confident about this. I'm going to go take money from the house. I'm so confident about this. I'm going to take money from the credit card. I'm so confident. I'm going to go borrow money from friends and family because I'm so confident that this has got to rock it out with my socks out. And then what we do, we start to do this sort of stuff and we put it into the markets, right? And then guess what happens? 12 months later, you have your head between your legs. You think, oh my goodness, how could this happen? How could this happen? This was a guarantee. This was a certainty. This video I watched, this report I watched, this thing that I watched. What happened? What happened? And it's like, man, I just lost a lot of money by getting into something that I was hoping, right? And I was so sure of because of this thing out there that said this was going to happen. Right? I watched this video. And so this applies to, it doesn't matter what market you're trading. It's called FOMOing for a reason, right? So for example, you could FOMO into the market by trying to buy it before it explodes. Talking cryptos right now, right? A lot of people are FOMOing in the markets. I know some close people, close friends of mine, acquaintances, should I call them, that for the whole year they've been just buying and buying and buying and buying and buying cryptos as this thing keeps going down. Because they've been writing these newsletters, right? This thing's going to explode. And even traditional markets, right? Even traditional markets, people FOMO. Now, how can people FOMO in the markets right now? People can FOMO into gold and silver stocks, right? So they think, oh, it's going to turn around any day soon, and I'm going to buy the bottom and so on and so forth, right? So we try to buy the bottom. We try to buy, get in the market. So we start to load up, right? Oh my goodness, I just watched this report and the fundamentals and the everything that's happening right now in the economy, this is going to turn to shit. And the only thing that's going to be here is silver and gold. So let me start buying more silver and gold. Let me load up on this thing right now because that's the only thing that's around here. Or how can we do it with the stock market? People trying to think, okay, this is the top of the market. So I'm going to short the crap out of this market to start to see this market go down. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I cannot count the amount of times that I have FOMO'd into the markets and gotten my head handed to me between my legs, backwards and forwards, front to backwards, and bam, we're talking multiple six-figure losses from this sucker. Multiple six-figure losses in my time. Because I FOMO'd into the market so much. I would load up with a lot of money. I would absolutely just load up with a lot of money because I thought this was the bottom. This report said so. This article said so. This YouTube said so. This is about to explode. I'm going to get in right now. And it's about this one trade. And I want to make $1 million. And look, oh my goodness, look, Bitcoin. Bitcoin went to 20,000. It's going to do it again. And it's like, no, you don't know if it's going to do it again. Because all I see is this market continuing down. It's going to continue. And people who are trying to buy it right now, as it's continuing down, this thing could continue. Bitcoin could continue down to 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. You don't know. Oh, John, that's not going to happen. The person who says that in the markets is just so ignorant about that anything can happen in the markets. Just because the whole world is turning to custard or whatever, right? Just because the whole world's turning to custard doesn't mean that thing is going to happen, right? Just because a company doesn't make money doesn't mean the stock market's doesn't mean that stock's going to go down. Tesla, it doesn't make any money. It's the biggest, shortest company out there right now. Keeps going up. So never trade based on what that FOMOing, right? And please, I've just lost. In my last 15 years of being involved with the markets, I have lost so much. That word, money in the markets from just FOMO in the markets and trying to make so much money really fast and trying to rush. And I said to myself, man, if I could just go back, if I could go back 12 months from now, I would never have done this. And every time I load up on a position that I'm loading up too much money and I'm getting into a trade that has no plan or no thing, it's just a once-off thing. I always, doesn't matter what it is, get my head handed to me. I have never once have I gotten into something because of a YouTube video or an article or a report or someone else's opinion of why this is such a good idea to get into it right now and why it's going to explode and whatever. I've never once have I done that and I've loaded up big time. Have I made money? In fact, I'm thinking, oh, I did it again. And so that hasn't happened to me recently, by the way, guys. I'm just saying, like, this, I'm just trying to, this is the whole thing is about stop following into markets. I'm trying to stop you guys from doing the same mistakes that I've done over the last 15 years. And it happens from time to time. Right? It happens from time to time. And the thing is, guys, is that, you know, even when you are trading, these markets, the fact of the matter is that it's called a plan. It's called a win-loss ratio. You don't know which trade is going to make you money, which trade is not. That's how you should approach your trading. Because you need to ask yourself, what happens if this one position? I've actually got chapsticks in my I got chapstick on my hand. What happens? I'm holding this chopstick thing in my hand right now. What happens? You got to ask yourself, and every single time you get into the markets, you got to ask yourself, what happens if this goes against me and it's a losing position? Because guess what? Every time I FOMO'd into the market, I've just said, no, it's not going to happen. This is going to happen. It's a certain. There's no bloody thing. There's no such thing as a certain in the markets. There's nothing certain in the markets. And guess what happens? I just hold on for that. And then guess what happens? I FOMO into these bloody things I know I shouldn't be into because there's no plan at all. Look at these bloody, right? There's no plan at all getting into the markets. There's no foundations of me getting in the markets right now. There's no risk management in place. And even when I get into these markets, when I get into these things I know I shouldn't be, and I've loaded up too much of my account in one of these trades, then guess what I do? It starts to go against me. Then guess what I do? You guys have probably done the same thing, right? Then guess what you do? You go look all over the internet to try to find any reason why what you did was the right thing and why it's going to turn around and why it's going to move in your direction. We all do it. I've done it many times. You get into the market, load up. Oh, you know, I'm loading up on this position right now. This is a certain. Bitcoin's at the bottom. It's going to go to the moon because this video said so. And the music was so good. And they gave all the facts and the figures and the fundamentals and what's happening to the economy and blah, 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 a whole bunch of bullshit. And it still bloody went down. I can't believe it. Guys, I tell you what, every time I have done that, I've got my head handed to me. And I'm just like, why the fuck do I go earn money and work my ass off to save money to put into an account to just blow it all away? I wish I just went back in time and I just stopped and I just slowed down and I had a plan and I had good risk management and I just traded the markets. And if this trade was a losing trade, it wouldn't affect me. But no, I had this whole thing in my mind that this is going to be the thing that's going to make me a millionaire today. Make me bloody broke today. All right, every time. I'll give you guys an example. I'll give you guys a real example here. When the election happened, leading up to the election, I was trading amazing, right? I was having amazing, phenomenal years leading up to the election. I was sticking to my plan. I was sticking to the fundamental. Oh, sorry, no. I was sticking to my plan. I was sticking to good risk management. I was having phenomenal trading years, right? Leading up into 2015. Then the market started getting a bit shaky. So what did this idiot start to do? I started to look on the internet, deviating away from what works and what has worked for many, many, many years for me and done well for me. What did this idiot do? This idiot started saying, you know what? I need to understand more about the fundamentals of what's happening right now, because obviously a lot of things are happening right now. And this is something I need to understand, the fundamentals. So I started looking at YouTube videos. I started reading reports. I started subscribing to reports. I started doing all sort of stuff. And guess what? There was one report there that said that this market's at the top, it's going to crash, and it made it sound so certain that this thing was going to happen. So certain this thing was going to happen. It was going to absolutely just crash. It's going to happen. We're at the peak right now and blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff, right? And here's all the evidence. And oh my goodness, if Donald Trump gets elected, then this thing is going down. Completely went away from my plan just to get into something that I thought was a good idea because something else said so. Never get into a trade because you think, hope, or fear. So what did I do? I loaded up big time on put options. Loaded up big time. I loaded up big time on call options on SLV. I actually even did a video where I actually got into SLV call options. Now, by the way, I actually bought it before silver and gold took off. Right? Before silver and gold took off, I actually bought it. So I had a multiple six-figure position on silver, and this thing took off. I had over 100% profit in my account. But I thought, no, this is the one that's going to make me a millionaire. I had a multiple six-figure profit there. But guess what I did? I listened to all these YouTube videos, these reports saying this thing's gonna continue up. This thing's going to continue up. This thing's gonna keep moving in. No, this is the one that, because all these YouTube videos and all these reports and everything I was reading was saying the crash is going to happen, and this is just the start of the big boom. This is the start of the big mining boom. So I started listening to them. So once again, I got into silver at a good time. The SLV, I bought call options at a really good time. And I rode that sucker up all the way up. In 2016, I was part of that. Again, you guys can go to YouTube, and I had a YouTube video. The YouTube video is still there saying, you know, I just bought call options on silver. So I heard everyone talking about why the market's going to crash and why silver and gold. And I heard everyone talking about that. So what I did is I loaded up on put options. I loaded up on call options on silver. And I also loaded up on call options. I was such a dickhead. A six-figure position on call options on the VIX. Because guess what? If the market's going to crash, that VIX is going to spike, and I'm going to make so much money. And my goodness, if that happens again like 2008, oh my goodness, I'm going to become a multi-millionaire. Golly. Guess what happened? Nothing. It went up. It's like, so if I just stuck to what I was normally doing and not investing into all this crap and just focusing on my technical setup and getting in, right? Not focusing on trying to make a lot of money really quickly, but learning the art and the skills and everything like that to be trading the market successfully. Trading the market successfully comes a whole wide range of discipline, patience, understanding that not any given one trade is going to make you a profit. There's a win-loss ratio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? It's not about throwing all your money into one thing. And it surely is not listening to the herd, because the herd is always wrong. The herd is always wrong in the markets. Always. Now, the fact of the matter is, guys, that those put options, I lost about 50%, maybe 60%, because I bought them like many years, so I had a lot of time value in there. So I got out of those for about a 50 or 60% loss. The SLV call options that I had, I watched that thing go to like 150 to 200% profit to go down to a 20% loss, and I couldn't handle it anymore, and I got out. So I didn't lose all my money, but like bloody. What the hell happened? Now, what I did do right with the SLV call options is that I heard what I was listening to fundamentally, and then I waited for a good technical setup. And I got into a good technical setup that I was looking for. And that's the one thing I did do right. And I rode that thing up and rode it all the way down as well too. So I went from a multiple six-figure profit to a 20% loss on that position. And the VIX call options, I lost about 60% of that until I said no more. Because I only could buy 6 months out when I was trading the VIX. Bloody hell, like, and I sat there and I even did a video saying, man, guys, I've done this completely wrong. I even did a video at the end when the election happened. I'm like, if I just stuck to what the charts were telling me, keep it very simple. I know this sounds very simple, basic, but the fundamentals have nothing to do with it. The charts will start to tell you. Guess what was happening? Guess what was happening on the Dow Jones on a weekly chart when the election was happening? Higher highs and higher lows. Who's in control? The buyers. As soon as the election happened, we had a really big, nice breakthrough weekly upper. You can go check this on your charts, on your Dow Jones charts. And it was breaking through highs, and then we went through a big run. There was nothing on the chart, which I'm a technical trader. There was nothing on the chart to tell me this thing is going to go down. I went against everything that I knew about trading. So here I was many years doing really well. I started to deviate from my plan. I started FOMOing all these things because these videos that had beautiful music and all these statistics and figures and jubilees and all this sort of crap. It's like, bloody hell. If I just slowed down and developed a plan and stuck with the plan and had good risk management and said, you know what, I'm going to take this trade right now. But if it's a losing trade, it's not going to hurt my account too much. And if it's a profitable trade, it's going to help me grow. And if I'm right 7 times out of 10, then I can do well. Because that's what trading is all about. Trading is about just having a setup on the chart that you set up with the chart with an entry signal. So I actually no, yeah. So set up on the chart with an entry signal, or an entry bar, should I say, or entry candle. And you've done your testing on that, and you know that, okay, this has an average win-loss ratio of X. Right now, I'm currently getting about a 70% success rate on myself. On my system that I trade. Very simple system. I've talked about it many times. The SLV options that I took was it's exactly what I look for. It's not complicated. Now, I take those setups, and I don't know which trade's going to generate a profit and which trade's not going to generate a profit. I don't know which one's that. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know which one is. But my job as a trader is to take those trades no matter what I think, hope, or fear. Because, again, it's all part of the win-loss ratio. And we have to stop trying to be FOMOing into the market and trying to make money really quickly. Because I guarantee you, 12 months ahead from you FOMOing into the market, you look back and say, man, why the hell did I do that? And if you know you're FOMOing into the markets and you're hoping this is going to get back to break even, I guarantee you the best thing to do is just to get out of that position, have a clean slate, and then move forward from there. Not to hold on to this thing. Because I know so many people who have done that with the cryptocurrencies. At the start of the year, one of my coaching clients, actually a few of my coaching clients, one of my coaching clients, or a few of my coaching clients were so dogmatic and so certain that these crypto markets are going to go down. Sorry, crypto markets are going to go up. They've done all their research. And they even started like, John, have you done the research? No. Well, there you go. Don't say anything. You don't have done the research. I'm like, what the bloody hell does the research mean? Oh, you read some white paper? Oh, you haven't seen the white paper. Oh, I'm sorry. White paper. What? Some report that some guy probably wrote, which half the stuff you don't even know it's true or not. It's just a white paper about that thing. And so like, man. And so guys, after that, I've done it a few more times, not as big positions like that. I FOMO it into the markets, but every time I do it, I just get smacked. And every time I go to do that now, I was like, no, I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it for a long time. Because every time I do it, I think, man, if I can just go back 12 months from now and just trade small percent of my account, find a good setup, trade that, get out when there's a loss, hold it for a profit, et cetera, man, I'd be so much ahead right now. So guys, that's the thing that I want to share with you guys. And it really does come down to, and I know this sounds really, really, really simple, but follow the charts. FOMOing into the market and trying to pick the top of the market and trying to pick the bottom of the market is the most riskiest thing you can do. If the Bitcoin market is going to turn around, it's going to turn around. We're going to start to see a higher high and a higher low. Stop trying to pick that bottom, because guess what? You're going to get burnt 9 times. It's trying to short the market right now. It's like, we don't know. We could be getting ready for another big another big blow off setup to the upside. Don't short the market. Now, that's a general thing. You know, I've actually had a lot of successful trades in the last few weeks, shorting stocks, that is. You know, I've had a few shorting stocks. I shorted silver, as you guys know. I was very, very public about that. I don't normally tell people about my trades. I'm still in silver, I'm still in my SLV put options right now, by the way. And yeah, we'll just see what happens with that. But please, if you are starting out or you're involved with the markets right now, please listen to me. I guarantee if you're FOMOing or you're trying to put a lot of money in the trade, and a lot of money in the market really quickly because you're trying to make a lot of money really, really quickly, I guarantee you in 6 months time frame, in 12 months time frame, you go, man, if I just stepped out, if I just stepped back, if I just stepped back and I just didn't do what I did here, I'd be up just by not doing anything, just by taking my time. And so taking your time, develop a plan, a trading plan. You go back over time to see how that plan worked overall for you. And then only take those setups. You're going to have your wins, you're going to have your losses. You don't know which one, that's not your job. Stop trying to be right with the markets. And that's one thing that actually stops traders from doing well. One, they don't have a plan. Or even if they do have a plan, they're not patient and consistent by sticking to that plan. And thirdly, even if they do have a good plan, they pick and choose the trades that they think is going to run on. I'll give you guys an example. I took two trades last week. I was in 2 trades. One, I wasn't sure about. I'm like, oh, I'm not too sure about this one. And then I took another one. I'm like, I really like this one. This is a good setup. Guess what happened? The one that I took these on the same day. The one that I said I really like this setup, that was a 30% loss. And the one that I said I'm not too sure about this thing, but it met my rules, so I had to get in. That was almost 110% profit for me. So I lost 30% and then I made 110%. So I was still up on my account. What? And that's something that just that's something that boggles people's traders' mind, right? Because you think you got to know what's going to happen to make money. You think you got to be right with the market to know what's going to make money. And you don't. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, you never know upfront which trade in your plan is going to be part of the loss or part of the win in the win-loss ratio. But when you start to pick and choose, I guarantee you, Murphy's Law, you're going to be picking most of the losses. It just happens. I see that in my account all the time. You know, I've taken trades, like I just never know. And you've got to have in your mind that you don't need to know what's going to happen in order to make money from the markets. What you're going to do is consistent and make sure you have good risk management. So I trade 5% of my account on every single given one trade. So if I have a 50 or 60% loss, my account's down to 2.5, 3%. I'm okay with that risk on that trade. So it's so important if you are new to the markets and you're watching these YouTube videos and you're watching these reports, and especially about the crypto market and why this is the bottom and all this sort of crap and garbage and bullshit that's out there right now, or why the stock market's going to crash, or why something, it's just, please, please, please listen to me. If the fundamentals are bad, they're bad, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean the stock market's going to go against that fundamental. Once again, Tesla is broke. They haven't made any money. It's the most shorted company out there, but for some reason it just finds its way to still go up. Amazon's PE ratio has been ridiculous high. It's way oversold. Just keeps going up. You know what I mean? Like, don't fight the market. The market's going to be in the charts. Now, yes, the fundamentals will eventually come into play, But guess what? The property market started bursting in 2007. It didn't actually come out in the news until late 2008. We didn't actually even start going down in the stock market to early 2008. And then it was late 2008, September, and so on and so forth, that we started hearing about the banks collapse. So the whole 2007, and if you guys have seen The Big Short, right, when did he notice this? What year did he actually start to put on his big first bet, The Big Short? Do you guys remember, if you guys have seen The Big Short? What year did he put on The Big Short? Or he actually created the market, the swaps against the bet against the housing market. You guys remember? The year was 2005. Ah, Russ, exactly. Yes, 2005. His very first bet he put on 2005. He created that market you go back and watch the movie again. It was in 05 that he put on his first big position. I think it was a couple of $100 million. Created the market, bet against the banks, bet against the property market. It wasn't until 2007. It wasn't until 2007 that the property market started going down. But even when the property market was going down and things were bursting behind the scenes, stock market was still going up. Hang on a minute, this is right. And even through 2007, the rates weren't changing and so on and so forth, right? So there was no need to change anything. It wasn't until 2008 that fundamental that was starting to happen in 2005, 2006 that actually came out. I guess what I'm trying to say, guys, is that just because something fundamental is happening right now doesn't mean it's going to affect the market right now. It can take years for that thing to play out. And by that time, you could be broke. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Using my chapstick. Gonna get ya. So please, guys, if the market is going to turn around, please follow the charts. That's over the last 15 years and making a lot of money, losing a lot of money, thankfully making a lot more money, and listening to my millionaire mentors, my private millionaire traders, and going through the experience of the election, the crash. Sorry, no, the election that happened in 2015, 2016. Once again, just proved to me that the chart was still saying this thing is going to go up, or this thing's likely to continue up. And guess what happened? Bam. But I was so bloody blindsided by all this bullshit that was out there. The Jubilee year and all this crap. It's like, golly, why the hell did I follow this crap in the first place? I was trading well, and I started to deviate from my plan. Anyway, I'm back to doing what I know works and what is best. So guys, I wanted this live stream for you guys and for you guys that are watching it now, and for you guys that are watching it later on, is to share with you guys some things about if you're thinking about the market right now, please, it starts with a simple technical plan. Now, forget the fundamentals. The fundamentals may take years. I just explained there. It may take years for that to actually start to play out in the markets. By that time, the markets have just done what they've done. Please find a technical setup, one technical setup that you like and you believe in. And the way you believe in it is you've done some testing. You've done testing over, many, many stocks. You've looked at at least 100 different setups. Sorry, 100 different examples of that one setup. And each setup must look almost identical. Once you've got that one set up and once you've done your back testing, then you'll be able to see, once you've gone over time, simply means go back over time to see what the average win-loss ratio is. And be honest about the back testing. If there is a loss, put a loss in there. So because you're playing with your own money here, right? When it comes to trading. Then once you know average, so for me personally, I know that my system on average does around 75% on average. Every now and then it does get up to about 90%. I had many months with 90% success rates, and I've had many months of 65% rates. So, but it averages 70 to 75, sometimes between the 70 and 80% mark. That's what my system averages. That's if I stick to the plan 100% of the time, and I only wait for those good setups that meet my plan. Once you know that, then your job is to start small, start real small, looking for those trades, trading those trades no matter what you think, hope, or fear. You can have a small profit, a small profit or a small loss, but guess what? That's okay. You're learning the habits of being patient. If there's no trades for a week, you will learn the habit of being patient, only waiting for those trades. Because I guarantee you, you may have a really good trading setup, but if you're not patient enough, then you start to take something because you're now being impatient. That's now a losing trade. That's actually putting a damper on your trading system. You may take a trade that may not meet your plan because you're being patient. You take that trade. You know you shouldn't take that trade. It's a losing position. Then when a trade does come up for your system, now you're nervous because it's actually hurt your confidence because you're not following the plan. And guess what? That trade you don't take, which is your plan, is now a profit. You're like, oh. So the whole thing about that is having that plan, backtesting the plan, building confidence, and starting small. And where the losses are going to be real small and the profit's going to be real small for a few months until you are disciplined enough to do that, and then start to build up from there. And continue to grow and continue to grow. And your job as a trader is to take those setups that meet your plan 100% of the time. And every single setup, if you showed me your trades, I can show you my last 50 trades. And every single one of them look almost identical to each other, both bullish and bearish setups. Because they meet the rules. Now, they're not exactly the same, but they have the same characteristics about the setup that I'm looking for. The exact same setups that I'm looking for. And your job as a trader is to take those trades, no matter what you think, hope, or fear, because you never know upfront which trade is going to be a profitable trade and which trade is going to be a losing trade. You never know upfront which one's going to be if you took 20 trades in a row that looked almost identical to each other, you can never know upfront which one's going to be part of the loss in the loss ratio and the win in the win-loss ratio. You can never know upfront. So stop trying to be right with the market. Stop trying to know you're smarter than the market. Stop trying to be better than the market, because the market can outsmart you. Because I guarantee you right now, and this has happened to me many times, I can take a beautiful, beautiful setup today and it makes a profit. I can take the exact same setup, looks exactly the same setup tomorrow, and it be a losing trade. Does that mean my system's not working? No. It's just the way the market is. Every single trade you take after you've done all this work and now you've been patient and disciplined and only taking these setups and nothing else, every single trade you take has a random outcome, but it's built in with the probability of outcome. And the only way you see the probability of the outcome of that setup is you take that exact setup and nothing else 20 times in a row. And now you'll be able to see, oh, look. But that's the hardest thing, right? The hardest thing is being disciplined to take those trades every time, even though when you're a bit fearful. The hardest thing, right, is to be patient for those trades, because sometimes when you have a really good setup, like for me, some weeks I have one setup, and other weeks like this week I've had 3 or 4 setups. Bit, I think is the thing. And some weeks I have no trades. Right now I'm in 2 trades right now. I'm in still in silver, SLV, and I got into a trade this morning. Beautiful, beautiful setup. So we'll see what happens with that one. Is it going to be a profit? I don't know. I don't need to know. I just have to keep trading it. But all I have to say is that, is my risk management under control? If this is part of the loss ratio, is it going to hurt me too much? And the answer is no. Now, if it makes a profit, then guess what? My account grows. And every time I don't get involved, every time that I get involved with my system and I try to be right and I pick and choose and all that sort of stuff, man, it's just a whole bunch of barrel of monkeys. It's like, why the hell didn't take that? So I wanted to start off this session, guys, today by teaching you some things that are just, I've just given me, like you guys probably can't see right now, but it's giving me gray hairs in the markets, right? It's giving me gray hairs. It's giving me sleepless nights. This is everything down from trading when I first started trading 15 years ago, trading the Forex market, trading options, trading even the futures market, especially the E-mini S&P, and trading those markets and just understanding these things. It's like, man, if I could look back in time, what would I tell myself? 1, get some sort of chart, get a technical setup. It's a basically pattern, and know exactly where you should be getting in. Go over, slow down and spend some time doing some back testing to see what the average win-loss ratio is. And then start to move forward from there of taking the trades, small risks, so on and so forth. Because I guarantee you that if you don't do the work now, you're going to regret it 12 months from now. If you don't do the work now, you're going to regret it 12 months from now. I guarantee it. Because every bloody time that I rush into this thing and force it, I just look back 6 months like, man, why the hell did I force that? Why the hell did I not take my time? Why the hell did I take that trade? That didn't meet my plan. Why the hell did I FOMO into that thing? And every time, like I am now, every time I just take my time and wait for these setups. And even if I do get into a trade that's not exactly my plan, my risk is still small. So I'm not loading up on trying to make $1 million in one trade. Now that's quite possible if you're trading even, some decent numbers. If you start trading $40,000 or $50,000 a trade and something big happens to that stock or whatever happens, it's possible. I have a mentor that made close to $2 million from a $70,000 trade. So that's possible. Probably 1 in every 100 trades that may happen to you. But do you know that trade? I've had many times when my plan said get in and I didn't get in, and it was like a 5,000% return the next day and I didn't take it because I was too scared. 5,000% return. It's like I've had a couple of those. It's like, man, why didn't I just take that? I was so fearful. Why was I fearful? Well, I was scared of losing money. Well, okay, well, you're trading too much of your account then. Or either you're trading too much of your account, or you're just not confident with your system. How do you build confidence in something? Do it again and 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 again. You backtest, you look at the systems, you look at the setups, and again, and you build a portfolio of screenshots. Have a chart to the left and a chart to the right. The chart to the left is exactly what the setup looked like as of today if you're looking to get into the trade. And the chart to the right is exactly what happened afterwards. Put even the losing trades in there, because even the losing setups, you can start to get a common theme of what actually happened. What actually happened in the markets and so on and so forth. And so yeah, it's so important that when you are trading the markets, and guys, I'm doing this because I really do care about you guys. I've lost so much money in the past by doing these stupid things. And if I just slowed down and I just had the plan, and if I wasn't confident in my plan, that means if I wasn't confident in that plan, that means I need to stop trading live and I need to go do more backtesting. Backtesting simply means I'm going to take this stock and over the last 2 years, Apple, for example, for the last 2 years over Apple, where did my technical entry meet at plans? Am I using moving averages? Am I using volume? Am I using trend analysis? What is my exact rules? And don't have 33 rules. I only have 4 or 5 rules myself that I use. I use 2 moving averages and volume. That's it. Because the chart is the main thing I'm looking at. You don't need a complicated system. And if you're not confident enough, you need to go do more back testing. You need to take more screenshots. You need to keep going again and again and again and again. And if you're still not confident with that system, you need to keep going. And if you've done 100 screenshots and you've written on the chart, here is my trading rules, and this is the reason why it worked. And and the next setup is almost identical to that setup, which meets your rules again and again and again and again. That's how you get ahead. You build this foundation to move forward. But so many of us just want to rush into the market like I've done so many times and just blow ourselves out of the water. Guess what even happens? Even if you are trading well and you start to FOMO into these big positions because you believe this is the thing that's going to make you $1 million, when you lose money on those FOMO positions, it has a damping on your confidence, even with your trading plan that works. That's the reason why taking trades that you shouldn't take is such a bad thing to do for your long-term success. Because it has nothing to do with your trading plan. It has everything to do with your trading. And if we just slow down and took our time and developed a very simple plan, and we've got screenshots. And the reason why I say screenshots is build a big portfolio of screenshots. The reason why I say that is because we want to be able to see in our minds visually what is the setup I'm looking for on the charts. And I want to be able to see that setup again and 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 again. And if I have to take 50 screenshots, 100 screenshots, 150 screenshots, 200 screenshots of different setups that have happened that met my plan, and each of these screenshots look almost identical. If you have to take 200 screenshots, the chart to the left of what the setup looked like today and the chart to the right of what actually happened afterwards. And every single one of those screenshots, the setups look almost identical to each other. That's how you build confidence in your plan. And and guess what? Even with that happening, look at the losses. So what was it about the loss that actually made that loss? And you can start to learn from that. Even my losses to this day. Oh, I didn't really notice that when I was in the loss. Okay, cool. Like I've had a few losses in the last few weeks. They weren't big losses, 20, 30% losses, you know, of my position. I'm like, what did I miss? Is there anything I missed on there? Oh, okay, I missed this and this. Okay, yes, cool. And you get better and better and better. That's how you build confidence in your plan. And then once you start to trade, you got to start small, like real small. If you want to do some paper trading, do some paper trading for a few weeks. But the real thing that's going to really help you emotionally is to put money in the markets, but real small money, one share trade or whatever. It's not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to lose a lot of money. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to start to develop the habit that's going to cause you to eventually and hopefully one day make a lot of money from the markets. That habits is what's going to create. It's going to allow you to do that. It's not the trading system. It's not the market you have to worry about. It's you not doing the work you have to, you have to worry about. And whenever you don't do that work, like guys, I'm telling you right now, I have folder after folder after folder of screenshots over my time. Screenshots after screenshots after screenshots. Like even just recently, I went back and did it again. I spent like 3-4 hours one night and I brought up a blank chart. I went back in time and I started taking screenshots again. Okay, look at this. Here's the setup here. Here's the entry bar. Look what happened. Oh, look, that thing ran on really, really quickly for me. Oh, beautiful. Oh, here was the setup again. Oh, man, that thing went sideways for a week, but eventually ran on. Oh, okay, cool. So not only when you're doing this, can you build confidence, but you also can what to expect in these trades. For me, I know there's other 3 things that's going to happen. So I already know up front. 1, it's going to run on for me really, really quickly, and I'm going to make a profit like the trader did last week. It was like 110% in 2 days. Crazy. Secondly, it's going to go sideways for a while after I get in, but not get near my stop level, and then eventually run on. Or it's just going to completely within 2 days, 1 or 2 days, it's going to completely reverse against me and then be a stop out. That's going to happen. Do I know which trade's going to do that? No. That's the reason why whenever I put a trade on, I was like, if this is a losing trade, is it going to hurt my account too much? No. Cool. And every time I trade like that, my account seems to grow. Every time I don't, I just wipe my account out. 50% of the time. Whack! See ya! Like, oh, idiot. So, I hope that this session here, guys, has really given you some foundations, some things to really, really, really think about when you're trading the markets and on how a successful trader thinks about his markets and how he thinks about trading. If you are a fundamental trader, you are a long-term trader. But even if you're a long-term trader and you got the fundamentals, please wait for those technicals to start to turn around for you. Stop trying to get into the bottom and stop trying to get in at the tops. If the fundamentals are saying this thing is really, really, really good and it's going to explode, wait for that chart to turn around. If you're looking to buy Bitcoin right now, wait for it to create a higher high and then a higher low. It's much more higher probability. That way, when you create the higher low, you can get in off that higher low. You can get in if you want to buy it because fundamentals say it's a good time. Get in on that high, but have a stop below the low. Because if it breaks, then it's saying that trend's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, still have a stop in place. Don't just buy it and then let it go and see what actually happens, because that's the worst thing you can do. Wait for the chart to turn around and have some simple analysis, like I've taught on my channel before, to really help you move forward. Because once again, guys, these fundamentals, you can't trade the market on a fundamental. So many people are trying to trade this market on fundamental news and it never works, ever. When it comes to the debt market, when it comes to, the mining market or whatever, the best thing you can do is learn how to read the charts. And that's why I do a lot of videos on learning how to read the actual chart itself, like price and time, peaks and troughs, high and higher lows, and understanding how to read the chart itself, not the indicators, but the chart itself, and understanding how the markets work and operate. You can really get a good sense of what's likely to happen. So let me actually answer some questions here, guys. And I'll help you guys out even more when it comes to this. So, are you talking about cryptos or traditional markets? We're actually probably talking about FOMO in the markets. That's any market out there. If you are not getting in based on a plan that you know that works for yourself, then don't get into the market, because the only thing that really matters is the confidence. The only thing that matters to you as a trader is the confidence that you know that works, not something because you learn from a video or even me. Even if you become part of my coaching program or look at my stuff, that means jack shit to you right now. It's not until you've done the work that you truly believe in. If you don't truly believe inside your soul that this works because you've done those hours and hours and hours of backtesting, screenshots, and so on and so forth to see what works and what doesn't work, you're kidding yourself. You're going to be forward. The number one success trait in any successful trader is he's confident about his system. That's how pigs get eaten. Exactly right. Yes. Bitcoin needs positive price action like it used to. Way too much institutional trading. Last thing BT needs now is Wall Street to come in. You know what, Dusty? I don't think you need to really worry about that, man. I think you just need to focus on what is and don't really about why things are happening. Just follow along with the charts and if Bitcoin's going to start to turn around, you know, if you want to ride that thing, then ride a thing, but wait for it to turn around first. Don't try and pick the bottom because this thing could be heading down to 1,000. We don't know. And if you think you know, then that's what every single researcher has told me since the start of this year. Guilty bought SLV yesterday waiting for a bounce. Yeah, Ras, you're FOMOing into the market right now, especially buying the SLV right now. Like, why would you buy SLV? It's just starting to break out. There's a very, very, very high probability. I'm short SLV right now, by the way. SLV has a lot of resistance. It actually does have a lot of resistance there. I FOMO'd into JNUG this week. Yikes. Yep. You know what? I bought some JNUG a while ago as well too. But that was, I understood that position and I understood what it was. And I was okay with that. So yeah, but it's all good there. Gold miners have been crushed. Glad I shorted a few days ago. Higher medium, it's not a matter of you got it right, because that's not how you should look at your trading long term, right? Long term. It's not about you getting this one or two trades right. Long term, are you actually having a plan? Are you following a plan to get into these markets that you know that works? Not just because, oh, well, I think there's a good idea to actually start shorting these markets. Because you may do well out of these two or three or four positions that you're in right now. You may do well, but what's going to happen for the rest of the year? Are you going to just try to get into something because you think it's a good idea again? And that's, again, you've got to start to build on that foundation. If you're not building that foundation right now, long-term success is not going to happen. Add stops, exactly right. Yes, always plan your exit point ahead of time. A high meta, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But just as long as you are following a plan in the first place, if you get into trades and you take 10 trades and every single one of those 10 trades look completely different to each other and have completely set of rules, that's called gambling. That's called hoping. That's called thinking. Don't think when you're trading. It's one of the biggest things that I actually learned from Mark Douglas. Don't think when you're trading. Because when you're thinking, when you all this sort of stuff, hoping, you're trying to be smarter than the markets, and you just never know. And you never know up front. But you don't have to be right to be rich. You just got to take the trades. Part of your trades are going to have losing trades. Part of them are going to be winners. And as long as you're taking really good quality trades and you know your plan, you should do well. Hi ho is in the house. Do you think the markets will crash soon? If the market starts rolling over, then I think it'll crash. I think we will get a crash, but not right now. It's not going to happen. We may even break up the new highs and keep going up. So I wouldn't plan on it. But once the charts start to turn around, that's when you'll be worried that the market will crash. Too much Mike Maloney. Yes, exactly. I was listening to Mike Maloney, Peter Schiff, Bo Poley, all that sort of stuff. I'm not knocking them at all. I think what they do is great. Disclaimer on this bitch. I think a lot of what they say has a lot of validation behind what they do. But I've just found by listening to them and not listening and not doing what I know is best for me, which is sticking to the plan that I know that works, it's always the wrong thing to do. So, but not bashing them and not having a go at them. They are who they are. I did the same. Exactly right, Rash. Yes. I need a reality. I need this reality check. Hi, Silver. Fantastic. What do you think of the ESMA changes now? And how will that affect gold and silver? You know what? I don't think it's going to affect gold and silver at all. Again, again, and I hope you can see right there, full name. You said, how do I think? I shouldn't have to think. There is no thinking about my trading. There either is a setup or there isn't a setup. There is no thinking. See, and that's where a lot of people get wrong, right? Like even one of my private clients, he got into a trade the last few weeks, and he goes, "Well, I got into this trade because I think it's a good. I think this, right?" He started using think and all that sort of stuff. You shouldn't be doing that. No matter, it doesn't matter what I think. What I think could be wrong, could be right. It could be plucked out of the space. The only thing that I should be deriving my opinion from is what the market is telling me at this particular time. And if it's silver and gold, it's getting slammed. And those, especially those GDX, GDXJ, SIL, SILJ, they have just recently broken out of a big, massive time phase. And we are likely to see a massive, massive pullback down in those stocks. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, so don't go FOMOing just because I said that, but we have a high probability of doing that. I'll be waiting for a setup, and then I'll be looking to get into those things on the short side. But again, we just never know, right? That's the reason why you have a stop in place. This thing could just completely reverse back up. Can't buy SLV or GLD through my broker anymore. Oh, I'm not sure why that is. If you open a brokerage overseas, some places not in your EU, you can still trade. Okay. Yes, but it's a loss. SLV way to sold, even SLV way oversold even on the weekly charts. Russ, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's oversold. I've seen that we've actually dropped down. I think gold is oversold, yes, but silver's just recently broken out, so it's not oversold yet. Where gold has been dropping down a lot more, right? A lot more. So yes, we may get a bit of a pullback here in silver. But I see at least one more stair step in silver, at least one more stair step down in silver, and then maybe that's when it gets oversold. What happens, guys, in the markets when the markets go sideways for a while and then they start the trend? They generally have three. This is not all the time. It's not science. It's not exact all the time, but they generally have three stair steps in the market. Go check out your charts. Whenever the market goes sideways and then the market starts to trend up or down, you'll have a look at those charts and see that, oh, look, it has three major stair steps. And on the third major stair step, that's when it went a bit funny. It had a bit of a double top, sideways action, very, very weak. My most profitable trades are always the first or second stair step. Look at silver. Silver was the second stair step. So silver's not oversold yet. Gold is getting very oversold because it's just been going down and down and down and down and down for quite some time. So I am expecting a bit of a relief rally in gold. I'm expecting a bit more downward movement in silver, but that's my word, expectations, right? Expectations. It may not. So I still am okay with that. The market can stay rational longer than you can stay solvent. Exactly right. Yes. You deserve more than 23 views, man. You have helped me a lot past 2 weeks. Hey, Daniel, appreciate that, my man. Appreciate you saying that. Man, I just, from my so many years of experiences, and my obsession has been, how do I become a good trader? What do I focus on? What is the truth? Not what I think, hope, or fear, or someone's opinion. What's the truth? So I go to two, really one right now, private millionaire trader. He's a private trader. He's not in the public, and he makes a lot of money. And I go to him all the time for my coaching. And I've learned so much from him about the truth, about what it is about the markets. And the things I'm teaching right now, guys, whether it drills with you or not, it may take a few years for you to realize, man, that guy that I did that live stream on, man, it was right. Not about me being right. I'm just trying to share with you the things you should be focused on so you can shortcut. You'd have to take 15 years to get to where I am today. It's going to take you maybe a few years. Been working since the beginning of the year with your strategies, and it takes time, as you say. Rushing has hurt my progress. Patience has been key. H1398. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's where like with my coaching program as well too. Like this sort of stuff here I offer with my actual my coaching clients as well too. So I'm doing this all the time with them and helping them stay on track as well too, because of that. Ronald, you speak the truth, brother. It's all about discipline, with ice water flowing through your veins. Boom, through my veins. A discipline that most traders don't have. Exactly right. Yes, failure and going broke is a painful but powerful teacher. Exactly right. Exactly right. But if you're going to let that broke stop you, then you're not geared to be successful. I can't count how many times I've blown up my trading account. You know, especially my first 2 years. You know, my first 2 years, I blocked my trading account more times than I could think about. And then I started doing more. Then my ego got involved and blew it up again. It's like, but I haven't done that for a long time, and I'm not going to do it again. So I just stick to what I know now. Daniel, if the weekly stochastics is still going down, but the chart is going up, is it possible entry, or is it best for both to show the same direction? Daniel, that just tells me that you are not confident in what you see with your trading system that you are using. So that tells me that you need to do more work, because you shouldn't be asking me to tell you when you shouldn't get into. Because remember, it's not about that one trade anyway. It's about a basket of trades with the exact same setup. If you and by the way, Jeffrey, I recommend throwing out the stochastic, because the stochastic is causing too much grief and too much confusion in your system. I say just stick to the chart and follow along with the charts, follow along with the trend, so to speak, and then have an entry based on that trend analysis, and then go from there. If you have to ask me, Jeffrey, then that tells me you're not confident about your system. You don't know when to get in. You don't know when to get out. You don't know what to expect, and there's no confidence there. So you need to go back to basics and start doing your testing before you start to look at the markets. Because again, it all comes back down to knowing your rules and knowing that it's not about any given one trade that's going to make you money. I used to use stochastics. I used to use RSIs. I used to use Bollinger Bands. I used to use MACD, all this sort of crap. I don't use it. I don't use it right now because it just stopped me. It was so confusing the hell out of me when I get in. I'll see a really good trade, and then I see the stochastics oversold. And I'm like, hang on a minute. So there's a really good bullish setup here, and the stochastics oversold, but my entry says get in, but the stochastics tell me not to get in. And so many times when that happened, that it made profit. I'm like, oh, I'm throwing out the stochastics. Stochastics didn't help me at all. Once I threw out the stochastics and focused on a good trading setup on the chart, and that's what it was. For me, the most important thing is the chart. It's not the indicators. The indicator is always a derivative. The most important thing, the only two truths in the markets are volume and the chart. Moving averages are derivative. So I just use moving averages for momentum gauge to see where momentum is at that time, because I like to jump on momentum. If there's no momentum in the market, I don't like to get in. I don't like to get in on things when there's momentum, either up or down. If it's going sideways, then there's no momentum. I like to jump on things that have momentum. And so, yeah, if you're using indicators and you're not doing well, then that's probably one of the biggest things out there. So for my focus is trading trades that have a really good chart setup, because the chart is the king. Would you have considered WLL with your trading, with your strategy? I'm not sure what WLL is. H1398. Fire sale group. Get ready to make some money. I wouldn't say that many. There's a lot of work that goes into making money from the markets. That's the honest there. Hi, John. How to take a long break from trading? David, simple. Just stop trading and say, you know what? I'm not going to look at this for a few days. I'm not going to look at this from a week. You got to be disciplined. I do that sometimes. I know, especially when I have my kids over or something like that, or I've got things planned on the weekend, I won't look at the computer for at least 2 or 3 days. To reset my mind and come back. Mike and Peter are more long-term with their investment strategies. Exactly right, Blake. Exactly right. But I don't believe in long-term when the market's overall stair-stepping down, because long-term, the market could still be stair-stepping down many years to come. You just never know. So why jump? Why, if you're a long-term investor, why would you get into something that's going down? Well, it's going to go up soon. You don't know that. That's your guessing. You're hoping that. Wait for the market to turn around, get in a good spot, and that way at least you waited for the market to turn around. So yeah, when it comes to Mike and Peter, I understand. Now, when you're talking physical gold and silver, guys, the physical stuff, that's completely different. I'm talking about people that want to trade the market for an income. When you're trading, and I guess that's most people in this room right now. If you're buying gold and silver because you're going to hold it for 10, 20 years or whatever, or 30 years or whatever, then that's a completely different thing. I'm not telling you what to do with that. But when I'm talking about when you're trying to trade gold or you're trying to invest in gold to generate a return over the next year or so or whatever, or even over the next few weeks, then that's what I'm talking about. Wait for that chart to turn around and then, yeah. When the Fed doesn't raise interest rates in September, then we expect a trend change in gold. Really high silver. There you go. You're expecting something, right? You're hoping something. You're thinking something. It's such a wrong thing to think about. It's like you never know that. You never know that. If you think about it, right? When the Fed started raising rates at the start of the year, or at least a few months ago, every single video that I saw said, okay, every time the Fed raises rates, the gold has a bit of a knee-jerk reaction down, but then it rallies. That's all I heard. Guess what happened this time? They raised the rates and the market just dropped because you never know. All right, you never know. And that's where, like, don't trade based on what you think, hope, or fear. Never trade based on what you don't have any expectations. You can't. You just need to trade your setup. Some are going to be losses, some are going to be losers, and that's it. If you have any expectations of something, it's only going to cause for, like, every time I get into it, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. This could be a loss, could be a profit. I know if I do my job, I'm going to make money. I appreciate your honesty. Needed to hear that. Thanks. Oh, no problem, Daniel. Appreciate that, man. I made several $100s using your tips. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I'm concentrating on biomedical companies. What do you think about this sector in the future? Fiona, firstly, it sounds like that you made some money off my YouTube videos, which is, I hope you can see, Fiona, from this session I've been doing right now. That's the wrong thing to do. Even if you made money, you still did the wrong thing, because it's not about the one trade. It's not about the few trades, right? And it's not about the biotech. Like, I think that sector, the biomedical company sector, is a very, very, very risky sector. Why? Because you can get into it and you can get blown out of the water really, really quickly. Really quickly. These things gap up, and then there's announcements with these drugs and all that sort of stuff. And it's just absolutely just, yeah. And it's just, for me, I don't necessarily trade those, like, look at those sector. I just look at my setup. And really, guys, it comes down to this. It really does come down to how simple this is. I have one trading setup that I look for: bullish and bearish. They're exact same setup, but flipped upside down. Okay, guys, put it this way. I'm not going to tell you the stock, but the exact same setup that appeared on silver, that got me into silver, was the exact same setup, but flipped upside down, bullish, that got me into a bullish trade today. That I bought some call options on a bullish stock today. It's the exact same setup. What's going to happen to silver? It may go up and I may have a losing trade. It may go down or whatever. Yeah, so Fiona, it's so important that you build that foundation. If you want to do long term, it comes down to that setup. It's not about what sector's going to do best and all that sort of stuff, because now you're starting to try to focus on something that you know that you think is going to make you the most money in a long time. And it's our lives are always moving, but we're not always progressing. And the reason why we're not always progressing is because we're trying to get to the finish line quicker than it's going to take there. But in fact, if we just slowed down and did the work and took it day by day and allowed things to naturally happen, in 12 months time frame, you'd be so far ahead instead of trying to rush into this thing. It's like, man. I think they're going to raise 100%. They might for the interest rates. Yes, I got you. Thank you. All right, no problem. No problem. All right, guys. Well, I just want to do this session for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this session. I think there's so much more that goes into trading, and people just like, show me the charts, John. Show me the charts. Show me the charts. But there's so much more that goes into trading than helping you become a really, really good trader. And so many mistakes and really, really deadly, costly mistakes in the past that I've made, I'm trying to share upon you. So if you get a chance, watch this session over again, and then just go from there. All right, and then just go from there. It's so important to do that. Now, no matter what strategy you are trading, If you're not 100% rock solid in the confidence of that system, do not place a trade in any market. Doesn't matter what it is until you're 100% confident in that system. Hugo said 3 or 4 little candles with a breakout, with volume increasing, with long-term charts pointing in the strategy. Not sure. Yes and no, Hugo. Yes and no, Hugo. That's basically in a nutshell. But there's a lot more details. There's a lot more details to what I look for than just that. And it's not really just 3 or 4 candles and so on and so forth. There's a lot more things I look for in the perfect setup. So I'm not going to get into that here, but that's you got 50% of it right. So, but again, use that and start to build other things around that. That at the end of the day, it's just about building a plan and building a system that you believe in. And if you're not going to believe in it, then don't place any money in the market until you. And if you just stick to the plan, it's going to do well from you. It's not the market that changes as soon as you trade live. It's not the market you have to worry about. It's you. It's your habits. It's your discipline. It's your patience. It's your ability to step up to a trade even when you're a bit fearful, when you're still not sure about this trade. Yeah. So, all right, fantastic. Hugo says probably more to it, but that's what I've learned from you. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I generally give a bait. That's bait. You got a lot of it there, Hugo. But I have a very, very, very simple plan. I don't use indicators anymore because of that. So anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed this, then go to freewbs.com to grab your free trading course, and from there you'll be able to learn some from my coaching program and stuff as well too when I launch it and so on and so forth. So. But apart from that, guys, I really respect you. I appreciate you. And I really, really want to stop you guys from doing the mistakes that I've made. And if I just had someone slap me over the head to say, slow down, John, you're going to get to your goal faster by slowing down, man, I would have saved me multiple 6 figures and time in the markets. So anyway, guys, have an amazing day, and I will speak to you next time.